Hello and welcome to episode 65 of SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution for finding the questions people ask online. I'm an affiliate marketer, SEO, and I've been building and monetizing websites for over 20 years. I've built sites from the ground up, bought sites, and sold sites in large exits. I'm here to share with you the SEO knowledge, hints and tips I've built up over the years. Today I'm going to talk about the demise of the cache link on Google and alternatives you can use instead. SEOs around the world are today mourning the loss of the Google cache link on search results and the announcement that the cache operator is also due to be retired. Now, the cache link was where if you could go to any search result, and if you see on the search results, there's a little three dots that you can click to expand out more information that Google knows about that URL that's in the search results. And one of the things you could do within there was click the cache button, which will give you a visual representation of the page as Google had last cached it. Now, this was really useful because you could obviously, if you wanted to see whether Google had got the latest version of your web page or any web page, you could click that link and see what Google had cached. Now, the reason Google had this cache result was, they say, was so that if a site was unavailable, you'd then be able to go and see what was actually on that page, when it was more common that sites would go down. But now sites tend to be a little bit more reliable, so they're going to get rid of it. Now, at the time of recording in 2024, you can still access Google's cache of any page by using the cache operator, and that's where in the search box in Google you just type cache, C-A-C-H-E, then colon, and then the URL of the page, and that will load up the same page result as if you would used to do through the doing the cache link on the more details page. But Danny Sullivan, the search liaison at Google, confirmed the other day that this will also be deprecated soon. So soon there'll be no way in Google of seeing what the current cached version of of any page is within Google. There are alternatives though. So if you're interested in your own site and you've registered your URL and claimed your URL on Google Search Console, you can get data in there on when pages were last cached. And to do this, you just go to Search Console, and then one of the many options is URL inspection. So just click URL inspection and then type in the URL on your website that you're interested in finding out when it was last crawled, and you will then get data on the date and time that it was last crawled and the HTML, sometimes a screenshot of what was actually crawled. Now, just because it was crawled doesn't mean this has now been indexed and it's the cache version, but at least it gives you an up-to-date information on when a page was last crawled. So if you're waiting for changes on a page to come through and see how that affects your rankings, then at least doing this way you can actually see when the page was last crawled, so you can see how far along in the process you are. But the good news is, even though the Google cache link and operator are going to be deprecated and will soon be gone, there are other alternatives for seeing the history of web pages on the internet. And they're actually better than, in my opinion, it's better than the cache result ever was, because in Google Cache you only ever saw the last cached version. You never saw a history of it. Now, the alternative is a website called the Wayback Machine, which you can find at archive.org. I think I've covered this before in the podcast, in particular use case that I've used it before for seeing when I was looking to buy expired domains, seeing what was on those domains in the past. Now, archive.org lets you put in any web page, any URL, any domain, and it will then give you a history of changes to that domain over time that takes snapshots. Now, archive.org doesn't cover every single page on the internet, just actually like Google doesn't, but it covers all the main ones that I've needed to look at. It's also very good at just checking on domains in general, so especially to see if a domain's topic and its intent has changed over time, which is particularly good if you're looking at buying a domain or buying links from a domain or anything like that. If you want to see what's been on there historically, it's brilliant because it takes these snapshots, and they vary between web page and website how often those snapshots are done, but it's generally at least a few times a year, and you can go back and see the complete history of a page and how it's evolved over time. And you can also obviously find pages that don't exist anymore. So if you find a reference to a page and it's a broken link now, but you want to see what was on that page, quite often you can go back to the Wayback Machine, put in the URL that is broken, and then see what used to be on that page. And again, that's a great bit of functionality. So yeah, I've always preferred using it. I find it much more powerful than Google's cache command, which is obviously very limited. Now, the one downside to archive.org is it's quite slow, but you might sometimes have to wait for a minute or so for it to drag up a page that you've asked for, but it's worth it when it comes. So yeah, that's my tip. If you want to see what the history of web pages are, use archive.org. Thanks for being a listener. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share. It really helps. SEO is Not That Hard is brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution to finding the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel 5 on Twitter, or you can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.